something.
Happy Tuesday, everybody. Hey, Rodney, how are you?
I'm doing fantastic. How are you doing?
I see that you're advertising for FootJoy today. That's good.
I am. Sorry, it's on the wrong collar. Look at that. I don't
Look
even
at
know what's
that.
like. Yes, I'd like to put in a plug. FootJoy's been around since 1898. No, I'm just kidding.
Before we get started, I have a little fun fact for you. You ready for this? Let me put this on Do Not Disturb. We don't need any calls. Had a nice chat with some Arizona folks today, Rodney. You'll be able to meet. Here's the fun fact. Do you know what the original name almost was for Bond, James Bond? Do you know what his original first name was going to be?
Man, I have no clue.
Rodney.
Really? Wow. That could have changed the whole course of my life trajectory. If I was, you know what I'm saying? If people thought of me as a Bond character as soon as, when I met people.
There's all kinds of ancillary conditions that I think that would be beneficial. I don't want to say, but boy,
Yes.
Ursula Andress and up from there.
Yes, I just the total respect. I mean, James Bond is like an old school Texas Ranger. You know what I'm saying? You know how you just think of a Texas Ranger.
Yeah, I just thought I thought that was all, the author almost was going to be Rodney Bonds. It's Bonds, Rodney Bonds. Think of the marketing with the gun, and I mean, who?
Yeah, I mean, could have been endless.
I'm telling you. My name is Andy Elliott. If you've never seen us before, I'm a realtor here in Williamson County, Tennessee. That, Mr. Bond, is almost a near miss. Rodney Wilds with First Trust, also in Williamson County. The goal of this live stream, this channel, is to give you information that you can use, news you can use. That's really what it's about. If you have questions about what you're going through, feel free to give us a call. We can give you general information. If you're in the Williamson County, Nashville area, absolutely give us a call. Our contact information will be in the description box below and in the comments below as well. So we'd love to chat with you. It's always free. And we just want to share information. Anything else new, Rodney?
Not much. Just bouncing around with with the Fed release last week, and just riding
Which,
away.
by the way, did we call it? I think we both called it, didn't we?
I think I was actually right on one.
We were together on this one, and as if I'm not mistaken, I saw the rates today. They are looking a little bit scary. I mean, 7.5 is getting my attention. All right. So you don't want to do Rodney's rates, do you? You want to do Rodney's rates? Are you up for that?
100%.
Let's do that. Hang on.
All right.
I just love that song.
That's a good one.
There's your pip. Good.
Here it is. All right. We have been, look at this. This is the true roller coaster. And what day is this right here? I can't actually see that day all the way back, but from early July, we have been on a roller coaster. And as you can see right now, we're still floating below a level of support I'd like to break above, which is, the 40, about 60, looks like 60 something basis points above where we're at now.
Yeah.
And it's just a challenging market. That's all there is. We got the news, 2 days last week, and it's everybody kind of thought with the rates, with them pausing the interest rates, that our rates would start rebounding. Well, I haven't yet, but they are actually still projecting that. So not a bad change today. You see, is not very much change, but it's still just a bumpy road right now.
I it amazes me what what we're going through on that, and you know what? We're going to get through it okay. So, and I got a bunch of people in my front yard. That's why I'm a little bit distracted. Can you tell? I'm like there's three kids in my yard, and I'm like, what? I'm just so tempted to jump up and get.
I don't know if we got a YouTube channel show going on here. What are they doing?
Oh, sorry. Okay. We're going to go back. So the topic that we're going to talk about today, we're going to move out of this, is should you buy a home now or wait? And this is going to be interesting because there's some disagreement on the panel as to what's good information. Hang on. You gotta love that that picking.
Hey, you got to hand it to our boy Phil here. Hey, look, check him out here, Mr. Thirst. Get off my lawn.
Hey, it's just driving me crazy. All right, so should you buy this is crazy. I love it.
Let me take over the show. These three kids out there done got you discombobulated.
Yeah, hang on a second. All right, There you go. Take over.
All right. Now, hey, help me out here, Andy. You got something that I was. This is a AI version. Can you explain this piece?
Coming back. Hang on.
I didn't know you meant for real, like take over.
No, I mean, I really, there is a woman. Hey, this is live. There's a woman taking pictures of some kid on my yard. I'd love to know what's going on.
Yeah.
Anyway.
That's a different show. That's a different YouTube show.
Hey, unexpected live. What's going to happen when it's live? What was your question?
All right, set this up. So this is an AI. This is I wanted you to clear me up on this. So is AI suggested these? Is that what the list
Yes.
is? Okay.
Yes. Thank you for it. Okay. All right. So by now everybody has heard about artificial intelligence, and they're trying to use that to get shortcuts for everything. You know, I mean, AI is a wonderful tool, and it's a great way to get answers. If you have questions, it's a great way to get answers. But the problem is it's not always accurate. I mean, they actually call it, the term is called AI hallucinations. It's a machine hallucinating. So it makes up stuff. What it does is it gathers information, known information, and then tries to compile that. But depending on your prompt, it'll give you information that sometimes isn't terribly accurate, or humans can disagree with, which is perfectly fine. So with this, I did some AI research on should you buy a home now. Now, I have my own opinions on what that means, but I do AI because sometimes it shows me stuff that I really wouldn't have thought of. It's pretty good. But it can give answers written so well that you think that it's accurate. So Rodney, take it away. I know that you and I have some disagreements on what these might be.
All right, here we go. But the question is, right, 5 words or less, should you buy today?
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
All right. So answer 1, buy if staying long term. Okay, if you watch this show for more than 8 seconds, you realize that I'm a big proponent in real estate as being a long-term investment. So I 1,000% agree with this. If you're going to stay anywhere, I think it's always best to buy. Avoid, especially now check your local area, right? Because if your local area is actually declining, hey, you might want to wait. But I don't see that in the majority of the places that I do business in. So my advice in this area would be to buy. if staying long term for sure. Second, wait if flexible. They are expected to drop. Rates are expected to drop. Okay, but
let me interject.
Yeah,
And I don't mean that's a difference from interrupt. But the flexibility, what this means on this is mortgage rates are expected to drop in the coming months as the economy cools. Home prices could also fall in some markets, which they absolutely are. And you may get a bit better deal by waiting. And that's when he says flexibility. That's what he's talking about.
correct.
Wait
If
and
you have
watch.
the flexibility, of not having to buy or move today, and you're in a good area, they or an area that's projected to, I guess, decrease in value, that waiting would be a great option there. So I agree
Correct.
with that one
I
too.
do.
Buy now if you need more space. With work from home trends, having a dedicated home or office and backyard could add, obviously add some enjoyment, but you've got to make sure you're still close enough if your commute goes away, right? You're going,
Correct.
because a lot of this return to work has been going on. So don't buy, 2 hours from your work if there's a potentially chance of you're having to drive back to work, right?
Right.
So buying more space looks like that was a good one. Rent if relocating. All right, here's I know we got a couple fans of the show watching, and they may agree with me on this one. I would say now I'm a long term believer in renting. I mean, buying if it's long term, right? But if it's not long term, if you rented right here in this situation,
Yep.
and you move somewhere else, if your plan is to have real estate in your fund, right? Today might be a good time to buy if you thinking you could turn that into a rental. Like if you didn't need your equity out of it, I think you could buy today, and assuming it cash flows and your rent works out, you could buy today, and you're buying at a a primary resident mortgage rate. You live in it 6 months a year, you move, you relocate. Now you've got a rental property if that's what you've decided, right? So you could make this decision on the front end. Or if you didn't, you knew you was going to need your equity or something, I like the rent if relocating, right? If you weren't going to be able to have enough cash to buy when you relocated, then renting may be a better option here.
Now, I'm floating a different direction on this particular one, and that is because you're familiar. You've closed people that I've worked with that did this. When somebody's moving to town from those folks did from Michigan, and those other folks did from Florida, and God, who else? But they wanted to move to Middle Tennessee, Nashville area, but weren't really sure if it was Mount Juliet or Nolensville or Spring Hill. That's the take I'm giving that number 4, rent if relocating, so that you can figure out where you want to live. That's
like
the way.
Inside the same city.
Yeah, because I was talking to some Arizona folks today, and they actually their choices initially are Spring Hill, Franklin, Nolensville, maybe, because that's pretty expensive up there, and Mount Juliet. And we were on the on Zoom call for excuse me, for quite a while, trying to help them figure it out. And sometimes the decision is clear. Like if it's Franklin, if that's what you want, and you go there to see it, it's like that's the place, that sort of a thing. And other times you're less certain. And so renting, now I mean short term, like for a month or 2 months. That's the way I read that, because I've had people do that. That other couple that was from Michigan, though, they ended up renting it was a year. Remember them? And you remember them. Nicest people. And that's what they did, and they figured out where they wanted to be. So that's just the way I took it.
Yeah, I was taking it more like if you were leaving, not necessarily coming in, but I see what you're saying as you're coming in.
Oh yeah,
Um,
yeah, yeah. Look at that. That's exactly right, Ronnie. So we covered
but
both bases. That's good.
yeah,
Yeah.
so if you're coming in, yeah, I would. But even if you're coming in and you know that this may not be your permanent place, but like if you're somebody that's thinking, well, I'm going to buy this property right now. If I could get in for 3.5%, I'll leave all my equity in here and rent it out after I move if I want to move 60 miles or to a different town, right, in the same area. But
Right.
perfect. All right, refinance instead of buying. Um, You weigh refinancing if you already own. Current homeowners could refinance at lower rates, tap equity, or renovate. Look at options before buying. All right. Some of that, I think AI has assumed that the interest rates where you could refinance, but there's a lot of I'm a little weary of this just because there's a lot of refinance. Um, there's a lot of advertising for people to refinance. In my opinion, it is um, at all times not the best for the client. Meaning, if people are out there putting, well, if you got 25,000 on a credit card debt at 20%, 7% doesn't look bad, but when you take, 400,000 and you got it at 4%, and then now it's at 7%. Well, you just ruined $400,000 loan to try to offset some crazy 20% credit card loan. So there's better ways to do it besides refinancing a lot of debt or minor debt into a house. It now it there's circumstances that this is done all the time and it's perfect and it's a good way to handle some things, but just be careful right now because there's a lot of solicitation on it where I don't think it's rates are 7.5%. They're terrible. 7%. It's not a good time to put your big money on this if you don't have to for a refinance.
And that as a headline alone is going to be leveraged into don't do the refi thing. I mean, a lot of people, you watch in the next couple of days, we're going to see headlines, like don't refi or that's not an option, which isn't true because we don't know what's going to happen next month or next spring.
Right. No. Right.
Just because today's a bad day. Well, is this the absolute highest it's been? I don't think so.
No, you're going to have a chance to always manage your money later, right? You manage your money when the rates are appropriate.
Yeah. Philip had a comment on that. I have docs that do that. What does that mean? Doctors?
Rent if relocating or yeah, I'm not sure. I'm not sure if he's on 4 or 5 there.
Yeah, fill us in, Phil. And then we got Angie. Yeah, see, and that's what I have a lot of people do, especially when here's the thing. Here's my view on renting when you're moving into a place. If it's at the top of the market, and it is kind of at home prices are at the top of the market, in my opinion. Rodney, I'm losing you off the screen, buddy. You're putting your blood, sweat, and tears into a house when it's at the top of the market. And I'm not saying rent long time, but like I said, a month or 2 months or whatever it is to get your sea legs under you. It would be really cool to come into a new area that you're not terribly familiar with, get familiar, and then move into a house in an area that you really like. Because of all the things that are said about Zillow, and I'm not plus or minus on any, the one thing they had advertising that was right was the house is only half of it. And if you love your house, but you're not crazy about the neighborhood, it kind of just spoils the whole thing. I mean, you got to have both in my opinion to
Right.
fall in love with something. It's not just the house, it's the area. So renting gives you time to get a sense of things, you know.
Yeah,
I
I
think
agree. And I was taking it more like an annual lease or something like that. Something more, a little bit more than 1 or 2 months. That would be perfect. I mean,
yeah. And sometimes people are, well, I've had them do both, you know, where they're just like, I've had one person do a extended stay, and that's a little sweaty because that's, you know, you're trying to find a house and that's expensive, you know. I mean, the clock's ticking, you know.
yeah, the
But you,
extended stays, we always know that they're going to be a fast close.
yeah, yeah,
you know,
because it's like they're gonna get that
yeah, it's
second
just you
rent.
got to get them out of there. Right, right.
Yep. And here, that's what this is what Philip said.
All right, so yeah, the Phillips saying what I thought was be, if you're coming in the area, not like Andy's talking about, not coming into an area for 1 or 2 months, but coming in for I assume a little bit longer, and then if it's like I said, if you're having a conversation with them and that's in your plan, that's in their plan to own real estate. Hey, I'd like to own 4 or 5 houses before I retire. This would be a good time to consider it. Is all.
Yeah, and I think the next one, can I chime in on
Jump
the
in.
next one? Check the local market. You didn't hit that one already, did you?
No.
No. I can tell you that it is from place to place. It is way different. The conversation I had with the Arizona folks, it is different than it is here. It is different, and so wherever you're moving, and I know Angie's thinking, you know, statewide, probably east and that kind of stuff. There's a number of cities over there, and my bet is that each of them probably have their own pluses and minuses, just like Nashville. And so you've got to check that local market and see what's going on, because there's some places that can be hotter than a firecracker and others that are like, it's my estimation that, you know, San Francisco's cooling off a lot. I'm not an expert there, but, you know, that place is not the same as it was. So real estate is local, 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 you know, so boy, that couldn't be more true. Check your local market.
Yeah, and, like you just talked about, the people coming in from Arizona, if they're, I've heard some signs about places in Arizona that's going backwards, right? So, so if they're going backwards and then they come into Franklin, it's like, hey, needs to be a mindset shift a little bit, that if these properties come into a hot market from a soft market, so.
Let's see that, Philip. Did you see Nash is number one in the bigger markets? I didn't. Is that a current one? I didn't see that. If you send me a link, I'll load it up.
Yeah.
I'll load it up. Yeah, but Arizona, and that's why they're, isn't it interesting? That shows you how fluid, perfect word for that, real estate is. I mean,
Yeah.
people were flooding into Arizona because it was all the things that maybe Californians not. That's not a judgment thing, but they're moving there for their own reasons, money and that kind of stuff. Now the market's having trouble and they're getting out of there for a different reason. I mean, that is a fluid place. And that's where, you tell me if you agree with this, Rodney, that the Nashville area, Williamson County in particular, doesn't have a lot of that, meaning it's stable over the years. Would you agree?
100%. Yeah, I think people move here for a lot of the reasons that people that are here like it and stay, is that, you know, it's, you can raise family. We got a lot of the cool stuff around. We got major sport teams and things like that. So we got a lot of stuff, and no smog, I mean, you know, we're still fairly small as a city if you look at it like that. But
Yeah. Yeah. Oh yeah, look at this. Oh, that's all. I
well,
was trying to look.
here's a set. Number seven's a pretty easy one. This is the one that probably a lot of people try, and it's the worst thing on the face of the planet to do. Time in the market, wanting to wait to buy for house pricing or rates, and it's like you're talking about two of the most volatile things on the face of the planet. I get it, but the timing is the timing I would recommend for somebody is when you need to move. If, like it says, if you need more space, are you flexible? Are you staying long term? Those are the timing things that you need to consider. Obviously, rate plays a big part because it's part of your payment, but assuming affordability issues are out of the way, timing the market is detrimental to almost every. If I've had 100 people that says, "Okay, I'm waiting," 99 of them missed out. 99 of them missed out on the lowest rate they could have got, or a house, or something. I don't even remember the one that was like, "I'm glad I waited." It's just too tough to do. It's just too tough to do. I wouldn't try to do it, and I have all the tools under the sun to try to predict it.
I couldn't agree with you more. And I mean, what you said up front, though, was if the financial thing is taken care of, let's make that a given.
Yeah.
The rest of this stuff is just fundamentally easy. You know, it's like,
Right.
if you need a bigger place, then get one, you know.
But I'm not surprised. It's a good thing that I think AI has come out and said, don't time the market, right? Artificial intelligence has said that, which it takes all the factors in, all the moving and shaking. It's like everybody tries to do it though. It's happens a lot. So
it's a human nature thing. Cause you
yes.
think, but I think if you actually did the math, which I wouldn't be the one to do that, but if you did the math from, I'm going to guess it's 7.1 to 6.9 over the course of a period of time, how much money would you save? If you did the math on that, I'm going to think that it's probably not a ton.
Right, and the risk is that it can go from 7.1 to 8.5 a lot faster than it can go 7.1 to 6.8. I mean, it can skyrocket fast. And then you need to look at your local area, like our local area. If you're talking about don't time the market, every first time home buyer that is capable of buying in our area needs to be buying right now. They need to be buying right now. Their competition is down. They can negotiate. It's when this thing pops off again, rates get lower, they're going to be cut out of the market. So,
and this is where like that chart that we were looking at earlier, that's the tools that you can help people determine when the best time to lock too, right?
Yes. I mean, we give it, I can give, it's almost like daily advice because nobody can project much further than that. I mean, you can, but you see how accurate it is. I mean, they've been telling us the rates have been going down for several months now, and they've just kept creeping up. So,
yeah.
You don't know exactly. Nobody knows exactly what they're going to do, but we can give it best advice as we can daily.
Yeah. What a crazy day so far. Okay. So the next one. Check commute times. That I keep bringing this couple up from this morning because it's interesting that a lot of the things that are on this list we talked about, and these are real people moving into our area that they know just a little bit about Nashville or Williamson County, not much. One of the most important things for her is that she is still currently doing the remote work thing. And they both were able to say she isn't sure that how long that's going to last. But as it is, she needs to get to the airport frequently. And so for her, that was important. So we started talking about Spring Hill and Nolensville and that kind of stuff. And what does it take to get to the airport, And so commute times, will that be the game changer for you? Well, maybe,
Well, it may keep you from 2 years down the road when you have to go back to work.
Right. And that's
glad you didn't have to drive an hour and 15 minutes for that bigger yard or whatever. I mean, it's, that's definitely something to do.
I've seen it where some people are moving down to Lewisburg because, man, and here's the phrase, have you seen the prices of the houses down there? Yeah. Have you seen your gas gauge when you're driving from there to here? Yeah.
Yeah, I've got a good buddy that lives in Lewisburg, and yeah, good luck. I mean,
That's a hike down there.
yeah. It's between it's like between 65 and 42. It's a little closer to 65, but
Yeah. And I tell people, before you fall in love with a house that's way out of town, imagine driving to and fro, back and forth to work for a year. I mean, just imagine
yeah,
before you pull the
that's good
trigger on
advice. A lot of people are going back to work.
it. Yeah, yeah.
All right,
Next.
number 9. Consider new construction. Um, that would be something I would. I don't know if it had made number 9 on my list. It'd probably be like 1 or 2. New construction right now is probably the largest part of our sales across the country.
Mm-hmm.
It's you have to consider new construction right now if you're in the market. That's I don't want to say you have to, because people could be looking in an area where there's not going to be new construction for the rest of their lives, right? I mean, but a lot for a lot of buyers, new construction has to be an option for you. I mean, it's just a lot of our sales.
And builders they're cutting deals. You're able to negotiate a little bit with builders.
Mm-hmm.
It's the rare occasion when you can negotiate on price for new builds, because what they're trying to do is maintain a price level for the people that have already purchased in a given neighborhood. If you're in Andyville and you've had 35 people buy at a certain price range, you can't have somebody come in with the latest house and get a super deal, because that's going to hurt everybody's comps. But what you can do a lot of times is negotiate for upgrades, and it doesn't. The price stays the same, but you get more value in terms of upgrades, which somehow doesn't reflect. I don't know. But you're able to do that more these days.
Right. I mean, just because there's probably more new construction than existing sales. I don't know if there's that, but it's probably a extremely large portion of our sales right now.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And you know what? It's a brand new house, so that's pretty cool. So number 10, explore. Now, we covered this like last week or week before, but explore the down payment programs.
That's it. There's for the lender you talk to for that area, there's always special programs, whether it's by the state, by local banks, by national banks that are just a part of this area. There's a lot of different options depending on your nationality. We had something that was for the American Indian, and it's and they even opened it up to a part in Tennessee, which I didn't know we had native lands there, but there's a section in Tennessee where we're open to that program. And it's always a good option to check into for, talk to your lender, see what's available in your area, and just, have those. That's the thing. You just want to have some options and look at your options and see which one best fits you. That's the whole key.
That's the whole deal on that. We've got some thoughts here I want to throw up. Really don't want new construction. I want an established neighborhood. I am with you. I like new, but I like trees and shrubs, and I like that mature thing, I like that. And medical facility proximity would be important. Boy, I tell you, I know it sounds like I'm promoting this area. You're not looking here, but there's a lot of hospitals around here.
Yeah, we're blessed. Where I hunt in Arkansas, there's I tell you that I've only had one medical emergency, and I had to stop at a gas station called T-Rix. And between them selling drugs, I got some super glue to put on my boy's head when he busted it open, and we made it. So because there's no hospital anywhere around there, and I was like, we kind of know that when we're hunting, but it's a long way to the nearest hospital. So,
and it becomes obvious when you need help like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, when he's playing football in the yard and runs dead into a satellite dish for a pass. So,
oh man, super glue.
Yeah, but they're boys. See, that's the good thing about boys. If you have boys, you get to fix them with super glue. I'm assuming if I had the girl, I'd have probably had a plastic surgeon, you know. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, just the way it is.
Yeah, that's the way I grew up. Fell out of a tree, rub dirt on it, it'd be all right. Get out of
Yeah.
here.
This is no.
All right. So now, as a couple of final thoughts on the AI thing. Excuse me. I won't be able to pull these up. I could share them, but I won't. A couple of thoughts that AI threw out that I'm going to have to just flat out disagree. One of them is you're maxing out your budget and you want to lock in a lower interest rate before they rise further. I'm not sure if I read that right, and I'm not sure that that's one I'm interested in. Another reason to buy, they're saying these results aren't nearly as good. Another reason to buy would be you want to start building equity immediately and avoid potential mortgage rate increases later. I'd be calling Rodney on that one.
Well, I mean, you know, think about that. Think about that for a second. You know, AI is sitting here looking at this market, looking at our market, and looking at the history of the United States market, and it's saying that. Versus me and you with our emotions, we're like, we're at the end of this. We're at the end of this. This can't continue. The AI knows it could continue for 100 years. I mean, so, I mean, I don't want this thing to be right.
Yeah. And the excuse me. And the last one I'll add is, because there's some fairly obvious ones. If you have unstable employment, that's a reason not to buy. Okay. But this one is killing me. It says, you're worried about a potential recession. Okay.
Reasons to buy. You're worried about a potential recession.
Reason to wait. You're worried about a potential recession. Anyway. So I think that pretty much does it for that crazy little episode. I love that. I really do. You just do that for an hour. All right. So this has been a weird day, and I got to tell you, I'm going to go do a replay on that. Angie says, scare the kids. Way to go. Nice. Oh, sorry.
Yeah.
Get off my lawn. So did you want to just throw out a couple of thoughts? There was two things that caught my attention. When we're talking about mortgage rates going crazy, are we going to have to see that?
Hey, if you want to show something creepy, just show that little hand you got that comes across the screen, you know, with a pointer finger. I mean, that's as bad. Yeah, that's as bad. Yeah.
And now I can't see it. I got to let it run its loop. Now I won't stop. So, yeah.
All right.
With all the craziness going on, and we were right, they did pause the rates. What does that mean? Don't know. Well, I'll tell you what it means. Rates are going to go to 7.5. That's what that means. When the Fed, Rodney, Wendy, the Fed pauses, rates go to 7.5. There's no real connection there, but people were asking before they made that decision, what's going to happen? Here we are, 7.5. But the question I've got is, the forbearance levels continue to climb. Remember, that was such a big deal.
Yes.
What if you were to look at your tea leaves, your forbearance message in the tea leaves, what would it say to you?
It's non-existent. Non-existent. I mean, we're not seeing hardly anybody in forbearance anymore. And Fannie Mae's already got us a way that if they're in forbearance, what they need to do to get out of it and move on with their life as far as purchase another house or whatever. And it's not that bad. So we just don't see the forbearance, people going into forbearance because of the COVID stuff anymore or any of that. Like it's non-existent. Like I haven't seen somebody in forbearance in so long. I couldn't tell you when.
If I were to read the tea leaves, and I don't know what it would mean going forward, but COVID and that whole mess, regardless of how much of it was real and imagined, and I think there's a mixture. There is, I mean, but what we're left with is how we responded. It isn't what happened; it's how we responded to that. And for a while, it was a train wreck. And when it comes to the mortgages, and remember the big deal that forbearance was being made of? I mean, that was a huge deal. To read the tea leaves, we handled that on the whole. We came out of that looking good.
Oh, yeah. I mean, yeah. They did it. They did it right. But the way I look at it, though, I mean, all of this was not created because of a financial crisis. This was created because of a government shutdown.
Yeah.
It wasn't created because mortgage lenders made bad decisions or people made bad decisions. It was because the government was shutting us down over a virus. And so when they did that, they pretty much, forced all the mortgage servicers to help people that they're cutting income from. So, but I thought the mortgage companies handled it great and gave people plenty of time to not pay payments, because they actually, people who went in forbearance, I've seen a lot of people that didn't need forbearance. They were at full pay. They just chose to take it, which was their option. But
Yeah. It just gives me a lot of hope, because what was happening to the country, I think, was that feeling of, people were, of course, screaming, crash, the sky has fallen, impending doom, all of that kind of stuff. And that didn't happen. I think that all in all things taken, is really cool that we've made it through. It was scary and it was uncertain, and yet it's okay. We're left with the inflation. We're still fighting that back, but anyway, feels pretty good. The other article that caught my attention, it's related, if you don't mind chiming in on, is the foreclosure activity seems to be ticking upward, because those are two entirely different baskets.
Yes. Forbearance is when you're working with your lender and they're giving you a break on your payments, or a partial break, or a month break, whatever it is, and whatever terms they work out, you pay it back on the back end, blah, blah, blah. Forbearance, you're not late on anything. You're not considered late. It's just an activity that's postponed something. So, but for, foreclosure, although they have they're big differences. This foreclosure means proceedings has started to take your house due to at least probably 90 to 120 days late in payments. So this is, but I see it's up, but it's still down year over year.
Yep.
So we definitely had a tick up in this thing, but I was also glad to see that year over year is still down. But they are, these are things that we haven't heard in years, right? I mean, with all of our equity gaining, foreclosures this is the first report really that we've seen. It's kind of, we need to watch this, right? I mean, this is going to be something to keep track of going forward right now.
Yeah, I would agree with that, because the only people, I think, I would say only, that sounds limiting, but I would believe that for the ones that are in foreclosure risk are those that have HELOC'd their house to the max. They've just got nothing. They've maxed out. They've borrowed everything they can on their house, and so they're going to be running a risk. For the rest of the country that hasn't done that, we've got trillions of dollars in equity that they could sell even at a loss and still have a nice payday.
Right.
Or you show me somebody that's lost their job after buying a house in the last couple of years, there's a risk there because you haven't got any equity buildup to speak of,
Right. Yeah.
And again, that's where those those charts they confuse me, where you're saying, well, foreclosures are up. Well, they are month over month, but they're down from last year. That if you're not a chart guy, that can be confusing,
Well, you could have like an anomaly, 2 or 3 really crazy months in a year, and it looks like the sky's falling. But when you say, okay, we're up 7% on foreclosures, which is a tremendous amount. But if
Mm-hmm.
you compare like July from last July for the numbers, or however they're comparing year over year, then they're still down overall as a percentage, which is you know, I don't know how much more foreclosures could fall actually. I mean,
Yeah.
they're almost non-existent, but
And remember, at their worst, when the crash was actually a real thing back in the 10s, there was 4 million foreclosures in the country. 4 million.
wow,
My
yeah.
bet is, and I haven't even looked this up, but a couple of months ago it was 200,000 maybe, And I'm
Yeah.
not saying that's not bad news for those that are going through it. God bless you. My heart goes out to you. But on a grand scale, 200,000 versus 4 million is huge. So
Yeah.
let's look at a couple of things before we get out of here. There you go. Yep.
Heck yeah, Angie. That's a. And, we know from speaking with Angie for a while, we know her husband's in the trade stuff. So yeah, I mean, he's an expert at super glue. He could probably in what top 10 surgeon with super glue. Do I deal with commercial real estate too? Definitely some issues with that in our area. I do not personally handle commercial real estate, but we are. My area is no different. The banks I've dealt with they are struggling to try to figure out the commercial space. That retail's going down. People are not coming back in offices like they thought, or office space is still not totally squared up. So there's a lot of issues there too here as well.
And the commercial thing, just like you're saying, has got a long way to go. I mean, there's a lot of unanswered questions. The thing I've been hearing lately is that property insurance will rise so much that homeowners will have trouble making payments. But I can imagine that down in the Florida area.
It's she's local, right? She's talking about local, and
Oh,
California, if I'm correct, has to have. I think government is the only person providing insurance for Californians. I don't think any carriers are providing
what?
coverage for insurance coverage. But Florida's not quite there yet. But it's. I had a guy that's telling me the other day he's had rental property down there forever, but he's talking about the fees and insurances are skyrocketing to where and that is more for, I think they're like maybe just hitting his investments more than usual. But um, homeowners insurance in crazy places are happening, like Memphis. Like we couldn't get homeowners. We had issues in Memphis for a long time due to the crime in that city. So
No kidding.
it's not like if you come to Tennessee and you're moving to the rural, not so rural areas, but a little bit further out, like you've been talking about, I see insurance quotes on all, and they're very, very normal and accustomed to what normal rates are.
And it's the last thought on Florida. It's just a thing I've heard that I understand that they've been sustaining a lot of damage, hurricane damage, and there's a lot of insurance companies that are leaving because of the.
Yeah, I mean, I don't. Yeah, like I said, I'm not sure only thing I've heard about Florida myself was about how much the costs are going up for all that, for all the
God,
title insurance, wind, and all that stuff. I mean, it's
that's tough.
yeah.
Here's a different question.
Um,
Oh, there you go, Rodney. Take it
I'm
away,
gonna
buddy.
I'm gonna tell you this. Now, um, 1,000%. And here it's just always, always, always what I felt like the truest thing was in our real estate market. Houses that are move-in ready, that look good, have curb appeal, they are going to go for the highest dollar. Period. If you can do the sweat equity and you can do those things, it's a 50 times better for you. If you're a 90-year-old lady with no grandkids or anybody come in there and do some deferred maintenance, then that's a whole different situation. She might have to sell, or a 90-year-old man, whatever. They may have to sell because they can't do it or they don't want to fool with it. But your situation, the better it looks, in my opinion, the better it's.
And the proof of the pudding is in the eating. In other words, if you're going to see multiple offers, unless it's some weird outside thing, you're going to see multiple offers on a house that is move-in ready and priced correctly. When you have multiple offers, people are bidding against each other, not bidding for the house. They're bidding to beat the other guy. And that's when your ROI, your return on investment, skyrockets, because it ain't the woodwork anymore. It's beating Robert, the other buyer.
Yeah, it's attracting the masses, which is, a lot of people like me. Like if I move into a house, I don't want to touch anything. I don't even want to touch my own furniture. I want to set up. I want to walk in and sit down. So that's, you're appealing to the masses when your stuff looks good and is ready to go.
Yeah, ready to go. And the one rule of thumb that everybody knows about is declutter. Move the things out of the house to recover that floor space. I mean, especially in closets, take stuff out of the closet off the floor so that you can see the size of the floor space in the closet. Just you'll do well. You can't miss. Just make it nice. Make it so that somebody feels like they can bring a suitcase and a bag of groceries, and you'll be good.
Andy, will you clip that part, what you just said? I'm going to send it to my wife talking about clean the thing.
Yes.
Maybe she can. maybe she'll listen to me get my calls.
Maybe not. I'd like to stay friends. Oh, God. Well, I'm exhausted. Do you have any final thoughts there, Rodney?
No, I was, I thought that AI thing was pretty cool. That how accurate, or like you're having the same conversation with the actual customer, what AI was talking about. It's pretty amazing coming from a computer answer. And then, even though we may not agree with its comments, if you look at them objectively, it's like, hey, this rate thing, we have no clue how long it's going to last, but we hope it lasts so short that maybe it's influencing our opinion. So it's a lot of cool stuff. I like it.
Yeah. The caution I would make, just let it dry. What? Okay. Not sure what that is.
Like Angie got me. I am not bringing that up, Angie, and she does not watch this, so I am safe.
But I want to mention this for anybody that is taking advantage of AI, because it really is it's an amazing thing. Just watch out for confirmation bias. If you're looking for a machine that will confirm what you think you know already, hey, this is a great time to buy, right? That machine's going to give you all the reasons that it is. Or, hey, this is the wrong time to buy, right? It's going to line up 12 reasons for you not to do that. Be careful. I mean, that's where talking to somebody that knows, like Rodney, that he would know, so if there's a cautionary tale, that's it, so. Rodney, that was, thanks for putting up with me for that first little bit there.
Hey man, I'm all, I'll even drive over there if I need to take care of those kids or whatever.
Well, that was great. You offered to take it over, and so I handed it off to you, man. Philip, thank you. Wendy, thank you. Angie, good to see you guys. That was a fun day today. I'm going to have to talk to you later. See you guys. And Rodney, final thoughts? Anything? Yep.
No, good job. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.